Friends? No, you're just a lesson now, she said, smiling like it didn't cost her anything. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic, but her eyes held that quiet satisfaction people get when they believe they've won. For a second, I didn't say a word. Just looked at the chipped coffee mug in my hand, the one I bought for her graduation. It still said us against the world. I let out a dry laugh and replied, absolutely. But my silence after that, it wasn't peace. It was planning. Hi everyone, my name is Eli Verdon, I'm 27, and I've learned that sometimes heartbreak doesn't echo in crying, it hums in quiet decisions. When someone tells you you're just a lesson, you realize lessons come with grades. And I was about to show her how failure feels. That night, she left my apartment with her tote bag full of my hoodie, my charger, and the playlist I made her, like taking pieces of me was some kind of souvenir. I didn't stop her. Didn't even blink. Just watched her reflection in the window fade as she walked into the city lights, her laughter already mixing with someone else's. For 2 weeks, I heard nothing. Then came the messages, hey, can you help with rent? Followed by, my car broke down again, you still know that guy at the shop? And finally, you're still my friend, right? The irony wasn't lost on me. When I loved her, my help was invisible. Now, when she didn't, my usefulness became the ghost she tried to keep around. I said nothing for a while. I wanted the silence to breathe, to let her feel what it's like to talk to a wall she built herself. Until one night, her roommate, Sierra, called me by accident. At least, that's what she said. But the way she whispered, I don't know how you handled her for that long, didn't sound accidental. The story really started there, not with heartbreak, but with a spark neither of us were supposed to light. And the thing about sparks? They don't just burn, they expose. It started with small conversations. Sierra would text me about things that had nothing to do with her roommate. What's that cafe you said has the best croissants? Or you still fixing your old car yourself? At first, I ignored them. Then one night, I saw her message pop up right as my ex, Lena, posted a photo in the same cafe I took her to every Sunday. Different guy. Same corner table. Same smile she practiced in my mirror. So I texted Sierra back. We started talking about music. Then about bad relationships. Then about the way people pretend to grow while using others as scaffolding. She got it, more than anyone else had. Lena acts like she built herself from scratch, Sierra said one night. But she's still using your playlists, your recipes, your words. That line hit me harder than I expected. Because it was true, Lena didn't love me, she loved the way I made her life look like a movie. Sierra's voice softened. She told me she dumped you because you were too emotional. But honestly, you just felt things she couldn't. That was the first time I laughed in weeks. The kind of laugh that sounds like letting go. We started hanging out, at first, just talking. Then she came over with takeout, sat cross-legged on my couch, and told me she was tired of being the background in someone else's drama. And that's when I saw it, the quiet revenge life hands you, when someone thinks they broke you, but you rebuild so beautifully that they have to squint to find where the cracks were. Sierra wasn't part of my plan. But maybe fate had a sense of irony. Because the moment Lena found out who I'd been seeing, she didn't just lose a boyfriend. She lost her mirror. It didn't take long for Lena to find out. In a world where jealousy travels faster than truth, all it took was one Instagram story, Sierra's hand resting on my arm across the diner booth, the same booth where Lena once made me promise forever. Within an hour, she texted. Wow. My friend? Really? I could almost hear the anger trembling behind her words, the disbelief that the world had shifted without her permission. I didn't reply. Silence, I'd learned, is the most efficient revenge. It lets people argue with their own guilt. Sierra saw the text when I set my phone down. She didn't ask. She just said softly, she'll try to make this about her. I smiled. It already is. Over the next few days, Lena's messages multiplied, the classic storm before the regret. You're doing this to get back at me. She's not like you think she is. Can we talk? Talk? The same woman who told me I was just a lesson now wanted the classroom reopened. I didn't block her. I let her watch. Each photo, each story, me and Sierra fixing my car, cooking together, laughing, became another mirror crack she couldn't tape back together. And the funniest part? I wasn't acting. What started as revenge began to feel real. Sierra wasn't a replacement. She was the calm I never knew I needed. Still, a small part of me waited, the one that remembered how it felt to be discarded like a practice run. So when Lena showed up outside my building one rainy Thursday, hair soaked, mascara bleeding like ink, I wasn't surprised. She stood there, whispering, "Eli, please. I made a mistake." I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger. Just distance. Like she was a memory fading mid-sentence. And I realized something then: sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's showing them you never needed to. Rain hit the pavement like static that night, soft but relentless, the kind of sound that makes you remember things you shouldn't. Lena stood under the awning, drenched, shivering, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her mascara streaked like confession lines. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stepped aside, just enough for her to enter the doorway but not the apartment. She looked past me, maybe expecting Sierra to appear, and when she didn't, her voice cracked. "So, she's here now." "Sometimes," I said evenly. "When I'm not fixing her car, or helping her with rent." Her eyes flickered. She caught the sting hidden in my words. She swallowed. "Eli, I was confused. I thought space would help." "Space didn't help," I said. "It just gave me a clearer view." The silence that followed felt thick, like something breaking without sound. She looked around the hallway, saw the faint traces of a new life, 2 mugs on the shoe rack, a spare hoodie that wasn't hers. "She's using you," Lena said finally, desperate now. I tilted my head. Maybe. Or maybe she's just honest about needing me, not pretending it's friendship when it's convenience. Her lips parted, no comeback ready this time. Just rain dripping off her sleeves. I didn't slam the door. I just closed it slowly, soft enough for her to realize that some endings don't come with noise. Inside, Sierra was on the couch, earbuds in, sketching something in her journal. She looked up and smiled, calm as ever. Was that her? I nodded. "She finally understands what lesson means," Sierra murmured. We didn't talk about it after that. No triumph, no celebration. Just quiet understanding, 2 people who'd both been used learning how to be seen again. Outside, Lena's footsteps faded into the rain. And in that sound, I found peace, the kind that doesn't beg to be noticed. Because sometimes revenge isn't fire. It's the absence of warmth they thought they controlled. For a while, everything went quiet, too quiet. Then, like clockwork, the echoes started. A mutual friend called. "Hey, just so you know, Lena's been saying Sierra stole you from her." I almost laughed. You can't steal what walked out willingly. But that's how it goes with people like her. They rewrite the story when they stop being the main character. Soon enough, the whispers started online. Little posts, vague quotes. "Some people never change, calm as a slow bone." I didn't respond. Neither did Sierra. We just lived. We cooked dinner, left the windows open, played records. Our happiness became her silence's worst enemy. Then one day, Sierra scrolled through her phone and sighed. She texted me. I froze. What did she say? Sierra read it aloud. "Enjoy the leftovers. He always needs someone to fix him." For a second, I felt the old ache, that need to defend myself, to shout back, to remind her who broke who first. But Sierra's hand found mine. "Let her talk," she said softly. "Every time she speaks, she exposes the part of herself that's still stuck." I stared at Sierra then, realizing she wasn't just part of my revenge anymore. She was the reason I no longer needed it. But fate wasn't done playing its games. A week later, my phone buzzed again, a message from Lena's landlord. Apparently, she'd fallen behind on rent, again. Old habits die hard. She'd probably assumed I'd still be her safety net. I typed slowly. "Hey, I'm not her emergency contact anymore. Try her new boyfriend." I hit send and sat back, feeling a strange calm wash over me. The kind that comes not from payback, but from release. That night, Sierra whispered, "You think she'll ever learn?" I looked out the window at the flickering streetlight. "She already has," I said quietly. "She just won't admit the teacher was me." Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. Not angry, just final. It started like all modern wars do, quietly, in comment sections. One morning, Sierra showed me her phone. "You might want to see this." A post. Lena's handwriting, unmistakable. "Funny how some people heal by dating the nearest rebound. Hope he treats her better than he treated me." The caption was longer, a mix of half-truths and victim poetry. Screenshots, cropped texts, just enough to twist sympathy her way. Within hours, mutual friends liked it. Some commented little hearts. Others stayed silent, the digital version of watching a fire and pretending it's not burning someone alive. Sierra looked at me, calm but sad. "She's using pain as performance." "Then we don't clap," I said. We didn't reply. Didn't explain. But truth has its own timing. 2 days later, one of Lena's old friends messaged me privately. "She's been talking about you non-stop. It's getting weird." Another sent me screenshots. The same people who cheered her post now asking in DMs why she still cared so much. That's the thing about revenge through silence. You let their noise betray them. Meanwhile, Sierra's art page started gaining followers. A photo of us fixing the car together went viral, not because of the story behind it, but because people felt the honesty. The comments filled with words like wholesome, real, healing. Every like she got was a crack in Lena's echo chamber. That weekend, Lena showed up at the cafe where Sierra was displaying her sketches. Her smile was paper-thin. "Didn't expect to see my past turned into your inspiration." Sierra didn't flinch. "Maybe you should have treated it like art, something worth keeping." Lena's face faltered. She turned and left, the sound of the door chime cutting through the hum of conversation like a final bell. I watched from the corner, unseen. Not gloating, just witnessing a truth unfold. Sometimes the world doesn't punish people. It just lets them talk until everyone sees who they really are. It happened on a Sunday, the kind of day that smells like endings. The air was heavy with rain that hadn't started yet. Sierra and I were heading out of the cafe when I saw her, Lena, sitting alone by the window. No phone, no makeup, no armor. For a second, I almost walked past. But something in her stillness stopped me. Maybe closure isn't something you search for, maybe it just sits there, waiting for you to stop pretending you're done. She looked up. Our eyes met. "Eli," she breathed, like my name was a memory she wasn't sure she was allowed to say. I nodded toward the seat across from her. "Mind if I sit?" She hesitated, then nodded. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrapped them around her mug. "I didn't mean for everything to get this ugly," she whispered. "I know," I said. "But you did it anyway." She looked down. "I thought if I made you look bad, I'd feel better." Did it work? Her silence answered for her. Outside, thunder rolled, distant, like a warning from the sky. "You moved on fast," she murmured. "With her." "She moved in slow," I replied. She listened. "You left before you ever tried to hear me." Tears gathered at the edge of her lashes. "I miss how you cared." "I still care," I said quietly. "Just not in the way you want me to." She nodded slowly, and for once, there was no manipulation, just a tired acceptance. "I was selfish." "We both were," I said. "Difference is, I learned something from it." I stood up, slid a few dollars onto the table, and said softly, "You were right, you know. I was a lesson." Her lips parted, confused. I leaned closer, voice steady. "But not the one you thought." Then I walked out into the drizzle, where Sierra was waiting in the car, warmth against the cold. Lena stayed behind, finally facing the silence she used to give me. Rain followed us home that night, gentle and persistent, like the world was rinsing off everything old. Sierra leaned her head against the window, tracing little circles in the fogged glass. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah. Just, done." That word carried more peace than I expected. Not triumph. Not bitterness. Just stillness, the kind that comes when you finally understand some people aren't villains. They're just unfinished chapters that don't deserve sequels. Weeks passed. Lena went quiet online. The last I heard, she moved back to her parents' place, taking time off to heal. I hoped she would. Not because I wanted her back, but because I finally realized revenge isn't about hurting them. It's about remembering you deserved better all along. Sierra and I rebuilt slowly. We didn't post everything. We didn't prove anything. We just lived. Simple breakfasts, road trips, silence that didn't feel empty. She laughed like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. One evening, as we sat watching the city lights from the balcony, she said, "You ever think she might see us one day and finally understand what she threw away?" I smiled faintly. If she does, I hope it hurts just enough to make her grow. Sierra reached over and laced her fingers through mine. "You didn't lose her," she whispered. "You just made space for something real." The air smelled of wet pavement and possibility. I took a deep breath and looked out, at a skyline that once felt like escape, now feeling like home. Maybe love isn't about who stays. Maybe it's about who learns. And as the rain finally stopped, leaving the streets shining under the streetlights, I felt the quiet satisfaction of balance restored, not revenge, but resolution. Because sometimes, the best ending isn't an explosion. It's a calm whisper that says, "You're free now."